What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Tide Talk. It's Sunday, October 19th, and we're here to talk RIFC's riveting 0-0 road USL Championship draw versus North Carolina FC. Talk the Tide clinching a playoff spot, share your takes, and more. Every episode of Tide Talk is available on YouTube, and if you're watching now, please take a second, smash that like button on the video. Hopefully, Handsome John's in the chat. The trophy is doing bits for us. Ryan got the fireworks to work.
Let's go.
Absolutely awesome. And make sure you're subscribed to our channel if you are not already. I see the chat is already popping off, which is always good to see. You can also find us on your favorite podcast applications like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you listen on one of those, we'd really appreciate it if you took a minute to leave us a 5-star rating and a short review, as it helps more people find Tide Talk. One last plug, if you're not already, go check out the RIFC Club Collector app and enter the code Tide Talk 25, all lowercase, all one word, to get an exclusive pack added to your collection today. So cozy up, grab a bear. Let's dive into this one. You had Tilted Barn in there too, Ryan? Yeah, man.
That's fun.
That's good,
yeah,
man.
I got the Farm to Fest. They're Marzen. Very good.
I got a chrysanthemum fresh from yesterday. I didn't get to do my club collector lineup because Zach had my phone on the ride home and did it. And by the time we pulled in and got up, it was kickoff. So also great stuff. So like I said, we're here to talk that riveting 0-0 draw. I think most of the casuals will be very excited that it did clinch a USL Championship playoff spot for RIFC, but I think there is a darker side to this one, just on availability, the way this game played out, and everything from there. We'll also take you through the seeding scenarios of whether it'll be 7th, whether it'll be 8th. 6th is off the table now. So we are not looking at Hartford away. Sad. I wanted that. There was a lot of internal conversation amongst the Tide Talk crew of having another away day at Hartford and getting some rocket fuel at, what was it? Something McFlies after the match.
Maggie.
Yeah. But how was your weekend, Ryan?
It was good. I went to the Guild for 10 minutes last night. It was great to see everybody really quickly, which was awesome. Yeah, just a lot of great time with friends, family. The weather's really turned into that beautiful fall that I personally love. It's my favorite season. So absolutely love it. How was yours?
It was good. I made my PA debut at the Davies football game Friday night at beautiful Burn Stadium. I was in the new stand. Absolutely insane. The football locker room has a barbershop built into it. I said to the student worker who was, in the booth with me, like, that's what Bryant looks like. Imagine Alabama, Florida, SEC schools and like big programs, like what their stuff looks like. It's absolutely insane what they've done over there on that campus, and how different it looks from just a year ago when we spent our summer over there.
I'm really sad I was not in the booth with you. I'm very happy that you killed it, but man, what a beautiful sight that would have been.
It was good. Happy anniversary to you and the missus, by the way.
Thank you.
But so you mentioned the Guild, and I saw some videos. Zach had soccer down in East Greenwich. That's why we did Tilted Barn and then got home for it. So I was not able to make that. It looked packed. It looked like a great atmosphere.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. We couldn't even find parking in either of the two lots. We had to park on the street, like a couple streets over. But yeah, awesome atmosphere. Ton of people there. I saw the team was there. I saw Scott Beer. So hopefully some great footage and content comes out of that. But yeah, it was rowdy. People were excited for kickoff. And yeah, it's hard not to, fall a little bit more in love with the community and everything around this when you're around that many people who are just so excited about this.
Great stuff. As I mentioned, we are going to talk the draw, but we'll also talk the bigger picture in RIFC clinching a USL Championship playoff spot. We'll start, as we always do, with the 11, and that was the first red flag in the white shirts, as we saw JJ Williams not featured in the 11 or on the bench, and then the availability report came out, and he was listed as out. We did hear the commentators say during the match that they were told it was precautionary, but you never know with this RIFC team holding the cards so close to the chest at all times. It was a big worrisome moment when I saw it, and I'll talk a lot about momentum during this one. I think momentum is very important with this team, as we've seen over the last 2 seasons, and last night I think was a step backwards as far as momentum.
Yeah, I mean, the minute the lineup came out and you see no JJ, obviously that that's going to be cause for concern. He's been in such a crazy run of form. The link up between him and Noah has been, really reaching that level that we saw at the end of last season. So, yeah, that was tough. Especially we saw him come off at halftime of last match. So
Mhm.
something he's kind of been nursing. They wanted to give him a little bit of extra rest. I'm not panicking at this point. I'm hoping with the way that they talked about it on the broadcast, that's precautionary, that they're just giving him that little bit of extra rest so that we can have him, through this final match and into the playoffs. So I would prefer that they rest him last night if it was like a 50-50 shot. So totally fine there. The other big takeaway from the lineup is there's a number 12 right in the middle of the pitch. So, seeing that they were putting that lineup back out there that allows Clay Holstad to play in the midfield I was extremely excited to see. So still some question marks here. Obviously, you see someone like a Maxi and a Haribo on the bench. Quazera not getting right back in is definitely something to debate. Obviously, Sanchez has been playing really well. And then even seeing someone like Ibarra, who's been, a mainstay starting for a lot of the year, still not really starting for a bit now is interesting as well. But not a ton of surprises, as Kano usually does reward performances. And this is the same starting lineup minus JJ. But yeah, obviously no JJ is kind of terrifying. And we'll talk a lot more about that, I'm sure.
For sure. I think the biggest thing, like you mentioned, was Clay and seeing him in the middle of the field and reading the lineup and seeing Frank maintain the right wingback spot, if you will, I think was a big positive. And, like you said, could have thrown Ibarra back there with Hugo and maybe move Frank Clay a little bit more forward. Could have went Maxi either way, but I don't have a problem with Amos starting. Like Sarah says in the chat, hope he's okay with that head injury. He had a rough, I think, 36 minutes he was subbed off at with the yellow card, the head injury, and it kind of going back to that. But a rough go for the Defiant 1636 player of the season in a short outing, and hopefully that head injury is nothing serious and he's not in full concussion protocol and is able to go and give us everything down the stretch. So we definitely send Amos some good vibes for sure. But like you said, the rest of the lineup I was pretty happy with. I think Diop was outstanding the last two games. And I think his delivery on set pieces is something that we've been kind of missing throughout this season. We still can't score in a corner, but the Chick-fil-A conspiracy continues and lives on. I figured we were going to score one just because we posted our viral little clip about it, and we were just going to get one. And it was just going to be like, look, see, it totally happened. Someone tried debating me online about it, saying like, no, they want to give away free chicken. Do they?
Doesn't seem like it. That's for sure.
I'm not sure. I guess with, Mabika kind of easing back in since the red card and getting back into the substitutes, could have seen him starting over Stoneman. Stoneman had a moment early on that kind of led to a NCFC chance. But other than that, I think it kind of picks itself. Like you said, Sanchez has been playing very, very well. And I think Frank giving some stability on the right side is also key for the rest of this midfield, rounding out and taking shape the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think the only potential talking point of this, and I don't think it's really a big thing to talk about, but the fact that Diop, when he got signed, it was very much like he's on a multi-year deal. Almost felt like a one for the future type signing, but we see him kind of come right in, and he's really locked down that left sided center back role. And as you said, I think I wasn't as high on him as his first appearance as you were, but I think especially these last two games, he's brought a really great dynamic to that left side. I really like his kind of both passing and dribbling progression that he brings to the side, kind of similar to what Hugo was bringing to us there as well. So overall, very impressed with them so far. And I think that could really be one of those signings that is a little bit underrated, similar to even Sanchez's signing over the winter.
For sure. If you think about him and you think about Sanchez, they're both, still pretty young too. So you have a potential left side lockdown for the next few seasons that could really pay some dividends. And I think what's cool about both of these players is they both get forward pretty well and offer something moving forward. And Diop is as sound moving forward and on set pieces as he is defensively.
Yeah, I mean, like we said when we signed him, he's someone with a pretty very solid pedigree. He was the #1 draft pick. He was on the national championship team at Clemson. He clearly has a lot of talent. So the more that Kano and the staff can get out of him, it would be great. With that, like you said, he's still young, might have ambitions to go back to that higher league. So the only way to really get back there is to play as well as he can here. So I think it's really a win-win for everybody involved.
For sure. And you say that higher league. I know you're talking about the USL Premier and moving on to Division One.
I said Division One.
With
I'd say
RIFC.
which one? Yeah.
All right. The action started early with a pretty solid chance from NCFC, and we were bailed out by the RIFC player of the season, Coke Vegas. A couple big times last night, and this was the first one.
Possible 15 as Roberts goes over the top to Anderson. He's onside! And an excellent stop by Coke Vegas early on.
So you see that ball over the top. That's the one thing that always kind of worries me when Stoneman's in the 11. He's not the fleetest of foot out there, and NCFC kind of capitalized on that with that ball over the top and a really nice one-handed save and gather after the save by Coke.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot this year about Coke and his performances, and it's something that I think with all the amount that we talked about the offense not working, it's almost like the defense hasn't gotten the credit that they deserve with how good they've been. And part of that defensive unit has been Coke and how well he's played all year. I think I saw today he's #1 in the league now in clean sheets, and he didn't even play a ton of the games. He's second in the Golden Glove because it's obviously some wacky metric that they use that you can't even find in most places. I think you have to like scroll like 12 stats down on FOTMob to like find it in the thing. But yeah, he's had a really fantastic season, but also this definitely got me worried because it's like, wait a minute, that was like a little too easy. It's 1 minute in. I think I was in line at the guild to get a beer still, and I heard just everyone like scream, and on rewatch I was a little shaky on that one, but happy we sorted it. I think we calmed the nerves from there and move forward. But yeah, definitely a tense moment to start.
For sure. The rest of the first half, outside of one solid chance for IFC, which we'll take a look at in a little bit, pretty disjointed. Matt Hand says in the chat, we caught them offside 7 times. It was 6 times in the first half. I was not sure if North Carolina FC understood the offside rule. Watching Zach play in his third grade competitive league, there are less offsides calls per game than there was last night. Like, played twice this weekend. Did not even come close to both games combining for those 7 offsides.
Yeah, I thought one thing that was interesting about the first half was how high of a line we were playing on the defense, which I think really led to the amount of offsides. To your point, I don't know if either North Carolina or like even Chico was caught offsides a couple times in this one. So they were calling it tight, but I also don't think there were any one of those that were like wrong. So yeah, but the high line was really doing work, both getting them offsides, but also kind of pinning North Carolina in. In terms of the first half in general, I thought we were of the two teams the better team. I don't think it was some stellar performance, but I thought we were the better. Especially, I thought our left-hand side was really combining well with Diop, Sanchez, and Noah, combining up that wing, and then kind of Noah being really chief playmaker in that first half. So yeah, overall, obviously, it's one of those halves. It was like a classic like USL half where like nothing ever like it just kind of like is pinging around. There's a lot of foul calls, a lot of stoppages. It like never really gets going.
Very disjointed.
Yeah, and the halftime whistle blows, and you're just like, what the hell did I just watch?
So the offside trap, I think, was very intentional, probably tactical by Kano and the staff. Do you think that was in reaction to not having JJ? Let's play a high line, try to spring a counter quickly and catch them offside a bunch of times and kind of maintain possession.
Yeah, I mean, the way that Kano technically wants his team to play, as he said, is he wants them to have a lot of possession, and with that, I think it's almost like you're constricting the team up the pitch, and part of that is to bring your defenders way up to bring that high line. I also don't know if maybe there was something along lines with like a scouting report about North Carolina where they're more either prone to it or we don't want to give them that extra space to kind of like manipulate chances out of. So I'm assuming it's a bit of column A, bit of column B there.
For sure. The offside trap, like, while it did work, it does worry me with a player like Mikey Maldonado. He's like one of those pesky players that always, he plays a very physical game. He breaks lines well with his passing and his feet. So it did worry me at times that we were kind of dancing with fire. And I think you saw it on that first attempt there, that first chance. But the best chance of the first half came arguably in the 44th minute when Noah Fusan took on this chance.
What a deft touch by Dikwa. Fusan's chance and a great save by Oliver Zemra. Able to keep this at 0-0. Deft touch by the center forward, allowing Fusan to go at goal. And Semla coming through when they need it most.
And that's not Fuson at his best, just spinning and playing off the striker. As you said, great touch from Dikwa, bringing the attacking talents of Fuson into play. And Semla doing a great job of getting down low and palming it away for a corner.
So Semla does a great job parrying that one away, but we will talk Chico at some point during this one. I promise you. I know your DMs and my DMs are lighting up with the Chico talk, as well as the Tide Talk group chat. But definitely Chico's highlight of the match was that touch, that pass, and a very, very good strike from Noah on kind of a tough angle.
Yeah, I thought Noah really carried the momentum that he's been playing with and the confidence he's been playing with into this half. There's that chance. There was one where he kind of shot it a little bit right wide with his right foot, kind of across the keeper. So he had 2 or 3 chances in that first half, and it seemed like anything that was potentially going to come from Rhode Island FC was going to be because either he scored it or assisted it, which is great to see him again playing with that confidence that we've talked about. But yeah, I mean, hey, listen, we're going to talk probably more about Chico, but that was a fantastic layoff by him. And, kind of one of those plays where you would really see JJ kind of have that hold up play, hold the guy off and get Noah running in straight behind. So
I guess the one other talking point, we mentioned Amos and the injury during the first half, and we saw Dwayne Atkinson sub on for him. How'd you feel about that substitution in real time?
I wrote about that as well. I thought that I was a little confused. I'm biased to saying I think Maxi Rodriguez should be in this 11 somewhere. And in that role, it seems like if Kana wants to play more of like a midfielder-ish person in that role, I would want someone like a Maxi Rodriguez there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the nice thing about Busy is you do get his energy, you do get his ability to run at people. It's a very different kind of style than someone like a Maxi or even like an Amos gives you. So I wasn't fully convinced, but again, having the amount of options that we had on the bench this one, it was interesting to see the different kinds of calls Kano was going to make.
Yeah, I was shocked at that one too. I really wanted to see Maxi come on in that situation. I also could have seen a Haraval come on, like I mentioned earlier with the lineup, maybe Clay getting more forward. Mm-hmm. But I think it was an interesting one, and we'll talk more about Busy and substitutions later as he did come off, which was another beyond interesting point. But I guess to sum up the first half in one word, you just got to go with disjointed and no flow due to whistles, fouls, substitutions, all that on there. First half stats, RIFC was outpossessed just by a little bit, 51 to 49%. We did outshoot NCFC 5-1, 2 shots on target for RIFC to 1 for North Carolina, 0 big chances for either team. NCFC completed 182 passes at 83%, RIFC 159 at 78. So you see that disjointedness, not really able to string the midfield together to any kind of attack. We committed 7 fouls to their 3, and we took 8 corners to their 5. So like I said, disjointed is the word I'm going to keep getting caught up on for that first half and probably this whole game as a whole. But anything else you have on the first half you want to add?
No, I mean, the only other thing is these pictures, I think, show it. I was actually really sad with the amount of people at this game for North Carolina. Did they not know about Goals Galore on Fan Appreciation Night?
I guess they were, last time we were associated with Goals Galore, kind of feeling that vibe. I don't know.
So, yeah, other than that, I think it was, like you said, disjointed half. Again, the fouls, the offsides, no one ever really got anything going. And, nice to see us take 5 shots, but I don't know that we created anything massive to put us on top. But
for sure. Kind of more of the same to start the second half. NCFC did get a better foothold, a lot more shots in the second half for them. The substitutes that we saw came on in the second half for this one were Jose Quizera coming on in the 64th. We saw Iman Mavika come on in the 79th, Zach Caraval in the 79th as well. And then Ibarra and Maxi coming on in the 87th. So chasing a goal. And we only see Maxi come on in the 87th. And like I kind of hinted at, that was for Dwayne Atkinson. So subbing out a substitute is always kind of a taboo topic, if you will, in football. And I thought it was an interesting way. And you talk about, keeping momentum and keeping positivity. Busy's probably going to feel hard done by that. But then also when you're subbing out a center back, like you're getting Iman Mavika on there in the 79th and still leaving Maxi and saving Maxi for the 87th. Why leave it that late, Ryan?
So I think the big issue I have with this game is that, so I thought RIFC started the half on top. I thought we were good for the first like 10 minutes. And then the momentum like completely shifted, and it seemed like they were really dominating us. And I just don't think we reacted to that. I think we needed a Haribo in way earlier than he got in, because we just were missing like control for a little bit there. And then the other crazy thing is they didn't make a single sub. And like, it's like you have these guys out there on very tired legs. Getting in fresh legs earlier could have given Maxi and others like a good 30 minutes to try to run at them versus just like the 10-ish minutes or so there. So I think that's what I really had trouble with these subs. It's like, it's not recognizing that the momentum needed something different in this game. And number two, like, they could probably be more impactful because of the fact that North Carolina just didn't make a single sub the entire time.
Right, fresh legs running at tired legs. You got to think you have the advantage there.
Yeah. So, and like, again, a 87th minute sub, it's like, what are you expecting them to do? Unless like if the plan was
Andrew says guessing they planned on subbing out Amos and he treated Busy's role exactly the same, a pre-planned sub, and it just happened to be that Busy was the one there. I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know that Busy tore it up out there. I thought he was fine. He had that one good chance from I think it was Noah who put it in for him or something, and like right at the beginning of the first second half. But it wasn't like he was, you know, a complete star out there. So I get
20
it.
total touches, one big chance missed. He blocked a shot. He had one touch in the opposition box, completed 9 of 13 passes in his 49 minutes. So like you said, nothing, you know, over the top outstanding. But
yeah, I mean,
the rest
to me, like,
of the attack was in the same mold.
For sure. I mean, I think we saw, especially again after like the 55th to maybe 60th minute, that we lost a lot of control. North Carolina was, I think, dominating and had the momentum going. I think that's where someone like a Maxi in that position versus a Busy can really help you, like, just remarshal the game and like kind of.
Well, yeah, because you have a more possession-based player like Maxi. You're able to get the foot on the ball a little bit more, kind of take some of the sting out. North Carolina was pressing pretty well. They were advancing the ball. So if you have a ball-carrying player out there who can receive it in tight windows, turn and advance, you got to think that it's better than someone who's running in, making streaky runs, you know, and not getting any kind of service to go with it.
That was the issue. The weird thing about Busy was he's a player who, like, you almost need to adapt your game plan to the way that he plays. Like, he has a couple of really great strengths, and I just don't think we were remotely playing to those. So it's tough when you're watching that happen, and then you're also seeing the game move in a direction that doesn't really help Busy. And then you kind of look at the bench, you're like, wait, you have all these guys on there. My one caveat to the subs talk is, being forced into making a first half sub in like the 36th minute does remove one of those windows you have. So you do have to kind of think differently. And just to be clear,
unless filed correctly for a head injury.
Oh, interesting. I actually don't know, and I
know we've messed that up in the past. That's the only reason I bring it up.
Okay, but just to be clear, when I say substitution windows, basically each team only gets I think 3 per game. You also can make them at halftime as well. But so we used 1 in the first half potentially, or maybe not, and then. Yeah, so I don't know if that was just lingering in the back of Kano's head, but yeah, I thought it was a strange way to manage through this one.
For sure. I think North Carolina might have had the best chance in the second half, and once again, RIFC was bailed out by Koke Vegas, so let's take a look at that one.
Here we go.
Here's a great touch by Anderson to Dolabella. Dolabella decides to take it himself, and Vegas dives for the save, tipping it out for a corner.
Good link-up play, finding the targets, then a little layoff to Dolabella. It's a better shot than I first thought. It was a long, long way out, 35 yards or so. I thought Vegas made a little bit of a...
So that is one hell of a hit from distance there, but you also have to take a look at Quizera, Diop, and I believe Stoneman all had an opportunity to close the NCFC player down, and Quizera kind of ducks out of the way of the shot, and 3 players within touching distance, not one goes towards him to kind of make it any difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's hard is, like, you usually should be pretty okay with someone launching from there. It just ends up being a really fantastic shot. The funny part about this game, I was watching at a friend's house, and like we were talking and doing other stuff while the game was on. And every time in the second half I would look up, it felt like they were just launching from like 30 yards out. They just kept taking these really long range shots. I don't know if there was something
in the middle of you colonizing Catan.
We did not play Catan, but you have to, guys. If you're playing Catan, you got to really focus on resources. Okay, but beyond that, we'll get to Catan talk at some time. But yeah, I thought, I was like, is there something on the scouting report that like says like launch at Koke, like he's vulnerable or something like that? Because I don't feel that, like, having watched Koke for a while now.
No, not at all.
But it was like
unless he's off his line.
Yes. So yeah, great save by Koke though, and honestly a great hit by the North Carolina player. I'm assuming they were like, yeah, sure, shoot from out here. Great, good for us.
I mean, if that was their game plan, then we'll take that all day long for sure. But the substitutes just felt wrong to me. The way that whole second half went about, I guess the way the whole game went about, it was seemingly playing knowing a draw was good enough to clinch was kind of the objective. We'll see what the JJ thing really is hopefully more info comes to light, and if we see him next week and now going into the playoffs. But it is worrisome, as when we get to some of the RIFC and 3 good, bad, and ugly during this one, a lot of people kind of called out how impotent our offensive attack is without JJ Williams.
I mean, it was very funny to see some people post about, like, once JJ was out, they were like, well, I knew it was going to be a tough match. It's like everyone could have told you it was going to be a tough match without JJ Williams. He's playing absolutely unbelievable. When he's in this kind of form, he's one of the best players in this league. And yeah, there was absolutely a JJ size hole in the attack. Just some stats here. So we had only 14 touches in the opposition box. We've averaged over 20 during this run where we've been in good form. We had only 18% of our shots on target. During this run, we've had 41%. And then 45% of our shots were in the box. During this run, 64% have been in the box. So definitely missing JJ, his presence. As we say, it's tough to compare because, again, JJ, when he's in this kind of form, is one of the best players in the league. But, Chico had as many offsides as he had shots. This one, he had 2 offsides and 2 shots. I think he had one of those games where he was like the lowest touches by any player who played 90. So it's tough. It's really tough when you're comparing JJ in the best run of form we've seen him since last playoffs to, Chico, who's been mostly coming off the bench, hasn't been necessarily starting. So a little unfair to maybe compare him this heavily, but those are they were the 1-for-1 sub for each other. And, you just really, the whole night just kept saying, damn, it would be nice to see JJ Williams out here.
For sure. All right. Second half stats, possession was 56-44 in favor of RIFC. We were outshot by NCFC 8-6. They had 2 on target, 2-0 for RIFC. We had 1 big chance to their 0. North Carolina completed 139 passes at 81% to 177 at 81% for RIFC. 9 fouls to 7, NCFC with a 9, and 2 corners apiece. So North Carolina definitely a much better second half as far as stats. I think, like you said, RIFC had the early better chances and looked better early in the second half on this one, but that did fizzle out in there. But we've got a lot of comments in the chat.
Again, though, it makes no sense because, again, North Carolina made 0 subs. like it's like, right. How did we not get better throughout the game and they get worse because they were just getting more tired? I don't understand it.
For sure. We've got a lot of Chico talk in the chat, and we, as promised, we would talk Chico for sure. Like you mentioned, fewest touches of anyone who played the 90. He had a 6.1 rating via FOTMob, and that was confirmed. His 19 touches were the fewest of any outfield player to play 90 minutes in this one. He did have 2 total shots. He completed 9 of 11 passes at 82%. 1 chance created on that flick on to Noah, 1 shot on target, 1 off, 3 touches in the opposition box, 0 out of 2 successful dribbles, 2 passes into the final third, 1 accurate long ball, offsides twice, and the rest of the stat sheet is kind of filled up with zeros. But I believe your line on Chico was how shocked you were about how absent he can go in matches and how, non-involved he was in this one.
Yeah, I think the thing that's, and again, this is probably a bit unfair to Chico, but the thing with JJ,
and before we go there, Martin says in the chat, Chico is our leading assist maker in the USL with 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a bad year. It's been a bad year.
There's not been a lot of goals.
Yeah. The thing with Chico that's tough is, so if JJ's having like a tough game in front of net, he's still someone who I feel like is just an absolute pain in the ass to the opposition. It's very rare you see a game where he's not at least like physically causing issues for the other team. Whereas like Chico's a much more like normal size,
demanding double teams even.
Yeah, right. Like I think one of the games that stands out to me that like wasn't JJ's best like production game was the Louisville game, but it's because he was constantly drawing 2 to 3 Louisville defenders on him when he was trying to like hold up or try to get long balls, things like that, where that causes problems for the other team because they have to commit so many resources to stop him. Whereas like I don't think right now Chico's commanding the same level of kind of attention from the opposition while also not really getting a lot of the ball or not really being able to impact the game. So yeah, I think his hold up play for that one chance for Noah was great, but other than that, it was pretty absent. I mean, the one play that really sticks out to me where you're like, shit, if that's JJ, it's 1-0 was I think it was Grant had like a really nice kind of like in the half space cross into the box and Chico gets his head to it, but he just kind of like meekly nods it kind of over the line, not really even getting it on target, where it's one of those ones where you think JJ absolutely gets that on target.
For sure. Martin says Chico needs to play off a striker, and I think we only have that for a few games this season. I'm sure Timmy knows how many games Chico and JJ play together. So now that Timmy is in the chat, we'll put him to work.
Timmy shows up and he just gets some homework immediately. It's great.
That's it. But I do agree with Martin's point. I think Chico has to play off of a target man like JJ. He has to, make those, opportunistic movements into open spaces to be that fox in the box poacher type player that he is. And without JJ or any other focal point up top, you just kind of have speed on either side of him via Noah or Busy for the majority of last night. And the way that those three link up just isn't kind of complementary of one another outside of that one beautiful touch that Chico had to send Noah in for his shot. But I do think that he does need somebody to kind of do that dirty work, command those double teams like JJ does, so he's able to slot into open spaces.
Yeah, very well said.
And Timmy says, I believe they started just 4 or 5 together this season. And that was a big piece of the success that we saw down the stretch last season as well. So Chico definitely not living up to the Golden Boot winner that he was in Pittsburgh hype. We do believe there's one more year left on this contract. And from what we've heard from a lot of people, they'd be not too sad if he were to move on in this offseason. I won't dox anyone or throw anyone's name out there, but it was kind of a common sentiment that you and I were hearing from multiple people last night. Sources say. All right, so let's take a look at what you wrote into us on socials, and we'll start in the Defiant 1636 Discord. I was going to do good, bad, and ugly, or good, better, best, but Ryan was the one that said just do good, bad, and ugly. So if you have any negative criticism on that, you can direct it at my good friend Mr. Healy over here.
Yeah, listen, to be clear, we are going to talk about like this. We're talking about the game that happened. We're going to talk about the ramifications.
And we're done with that now. We're moving to people's reactions, and then we will get a little bit more positive. But yeah, I think, like I mentioned, the casual will be more happy that we clinched a playoff spot, but that performance left a lot to be desired for sure. And
just realized I forgot a cigar this year to celebrate. It's tough.
All right, you can do it next match, I guess. Maybe we should do that on a corner kick goal if that ever happens. But we'll start in the Defiant 36 Discord. Chelsea J had RIFC in 3. Welcome back postseason. Andrew Hill had fine, I guess. Carlos G had more games, baby. Jake F had planned to draw, and I think that kind of goes back to us talking about that, the offside trap and maybe looking to hit on the counter. And it seemed like that might have been the tactic, might have been the plan. Andrew Milko had RFC in 3. Somebody clinch me. I like that one. That's good. His good was playoffs. Bad was no JJ and a concussed AST. Ugly, did we use all of our goals the last 2 matches? Maybe. That's a very good look at it. Matt Hands, RFC in 3. We missed JJ. His good was we're in the playoffs. His bad, Chico. And his ugly was no JJ, no party. Terrace, RIFC in 3, an unsurprising performance. Good, we clinched a playoff spot. Bad, offense looked pedestrian at best without JJ. Ugly, hope JJ is okay because we are cooked if he can't play. Man, I feel that. Mo Brown, Maxi put Mark in a tough situation late, but Mark turned it into an almost game-winning situation for Noah. Wish Noah did better with that, as thought that would have been epic. Scott's RFC in 3 was playoffs. Martin's playoffs bound again. Good, another clean sheet for our defense. Better, we finished the season strong and are peaking at the right time. Best, playoffs, here we come. Andrew Gomes, RFC in 3. See you in November. In 3, part 2. Ted Lasso Inspo. Good there. We also had on Twitter Tyler Hatch, RFC in 3, just got in. Good defense and Koke remaining consistent and kept keeping yet another clean sheet, showing there is a glimmer of hope in making another run. Bad, that 3-year contract for the former Golden Boot winner. One of them may have just outed himself. Ugly, we are completely hopeless in attack without JJ. And then Taris added RFC in 3. Do you believe? And we'll talk about the believe video as well. On Facebook, James Madison's good. Were the vibes at the guild? Bad, the finishing. Ugly, 5 minutes of Maxi with 2 question marks. RFC in 3, no 5th place. So the kind of dies out for that. And then on Instagram, I think Taris gets the award today. He hit all of our socials. His RFC in 3 on Instagram was, where is JJ? I know
this is because I asked Taris why he did not do all the socials last time.
I love it because he's got a slightly different username on all of them. So it is kind of good to see. We also had our friend Kevin, the ghost of FQB on Twitter, RFC in 3, infuriating to watch. Good, playoffs and Koke. Bad, no urgency, no desire to push for all 3. Ugly, turning away from break opportunities to play conservative. I think playing conservative was definitely on the agenda for this one. My RFC in 3 was momentum has stalled. Good, we clinched the playoff spot. Bad, no JJ. And ugly, I think straight up was the Kano substitutions. Like we kind of beat that horse to death. I think that it was just, questionable at best. It would be the positive way of saying that. So thank you to everyone who wrote in. Again, you can find all of our posts, post-match content posts on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and you can comment and we'll share them live on air. Martin's asking if we're on Central Time tonight, so I wonder, are we actually live? Or is that just something that went over my head?
I actually was literally just slacking or just sending a message to the Thai Talk guys being like, are we live? Is everything okay?
It does say we have viewers. The viewer count is alive and well. So I don't know if Martin, somebody wants to DM Martin on Discord, maybe tell him to refresh the stream. Maybe it just didn't load. Maybe it just didn't kick on. But the way he was interacting with the chat, I thought it was fine. I thought it was good, but I don't know. Maybe something went off, kind of without a hitch. But we did have, people in there as well. Kevin says we're good. So, all right. So that wraps up everyone's kind of takes and everything on there. But the biggest thing is we did clinch the playoff spot. And I did want to share this tweet by Matt Hands that kind of breaks down everything pretty well on the current situation. If we beat New Mexico, finish 7th and head to Charleston, draw or lose, and if Detroit beats Tampa, we finish 8th and go to Louisville. No chance at 6th unless Pittsburgh lose their last 2. They are currently winning 1-0 at Monterey Bay with 30 minutes left. So he tweeted that out, during the match last night. So it's looking like it's going to be 7th or 8th for RFC. Definitely a win would help it kind of be 7th. And I would much rather see us go to Charleston than Louisville. I think it's a much better matchup. Yes, we did beat them at home. Not a 1-0, not a goal from open play. But I think the way that we match up versus these two teams is Charleston is the better matchup for us to see in the first round.
Oh, yeah, I can't disagree there at all. Again, we talked about it a bit last time. Like what Louisville is doing this year is absolutely stunning. And to be clear, they were also amazing last year, and we went in there and beat them in the playoffs. But would much rather Charleston and Louisville in the first round. And to be clear, that's not to belittle Charleston. Charleston's an extremely good team and will be absolutely tough. So either way, this is the issue with, the fact that we didn't play very well for a large part of the season is that we're now stuck with probably the 7th or the 8th seed versus, if we had played even remotely close to the way we've been playing lately, maybe we're more talking the 5th seed, the 4th seed, kind of in that area, which again is the exact same thing that happened last season where we just we kind of put it together a little too late to get into these scenarios.
So, you look at that and you look at our preseason episode when the hype was so high around this team or early on in the season. I think pretty much all of the Tide Talk crew had us projected as a top 4 team in this. So
I think top 4 is a little light. I think it was like a lot of player shield, a lot of that kind of commentary.
For sure. But so what, in your opinion, what is the biggest thing that went wrong this season in seeing us kind of finish at this end of the table versus the upper end? Or at this end of the playoff picture versus the upper end?
So I think we had some pretty bad injuries. So losing JJ for a ton of the season and losing Koke for a ton of the season was tough. But I also thought it was just like tactically, we just never came to a decision on how who we wanted to be and what could work. And I just think it took way too long for us to find a combination of things that worked. The fact that we really didn't start playing well until the end of August, you could say, is an indictment, especially because we brought back almost the entire team, the core contributors from last year, where we knew the recipe that group worked with. So the fact that we really tried to reimagine how this team was going to play, and obviously we got some great signings. I think also like an injury that we might not talk about enough is like Haraval, but also Hugo was out for a large part of the season. But either way, I think I don't think we ever saw that we were getting the best out of the group that we had available at any point until, again, the end of the season here. So I think it's a bit of injury and then a bit of just kind of tactical fuckery, I would say.
I like that term. Let us know in the chat too what your thoughts are on why we're kind of in 7th, 8th, and not pushing for that top 4. But
I also feel like I've done 18 different slide presentations about why this is an issue this year. But no, I think to a lot of people's point in the chat, people are calling out right wing back. But you could also just say like in general, like roster construction was very strange in a way, because I mean there was a point this year we felt we had 0 center backs and now we have 300 center backs. We never really signed a right wing back, even though we play with right wing back. There's just a lot of interesting decisions that have been made, especially when you look at the kind of signings we made and the areas that we didn't fill. And yeah, so we'll have to have a big postmortem at the end of all this to see, but when we're raising the championship banner.
For sure. I think a lot of it is the getting back to the term tactical fuckery, not utilizing Frank at right wing back and kind of sticking with Clay to nauseam at it and to kind of seeing the same results over and over again. I also think this team theoretically looked better on paper than it did last season with adding a player like Maxi Rodriguez and not really utilizing him properly and not
never figured him out.
Figuring where to play him, who to group him with, who to play him with. Saw a double pivot that worked pretty well for a game or two and then jumped immediately away from it and moved on to something else. So that tactical fuckery of just changing things around and not sticking with something, letting partnerships develop, letting different things develop, and constant changing, not just of who was coming in the 11, but where people were playing it within the 11. I think is a real big issue, and I think that the chemistry just kind of failed to gel with that. I mentioned kind of in the opening, I think this team we've seen over the last 2 years is just a really big momentum team, and I'm worried that last night could kind of suck a lot of that away based on how hot we were. And hopefully it's nothing serious with JJ, but that would be one of the biggest knocks as far as our postseason hopes and getting any kind of result heading to Charleston, heading to Louisville, wherever it might be. I do think we need to get momentum. New Mexico away is not going to be easy, so this was the game to kind of keep that hot streak going, keep those goals going. And I do worry that could affect us in the playoff push.
Yeah, I mean, we still did generate about, I think we were like 1.5 expected goals versus they were like 1.3. So we weren't like complete. It wasn't the depths of how bad we saw this offense be throughout parts of this year. And we still are unbeaten over the past, must be 7 games now, I believe. So I'm not unbelievably concerned, especially because you can say that, JJ is a huge reason for what we saw last night. So I'm not, panicking. I'm not worried yet. I would say if we hear something where JJ is not going to be available for a while, that would significantly panic me. But
I think even JJ not playing in New Mexico would be a big worry, as him not getting in another match before a potential playoff one. I think you do kind of want to see him get on the pitch at least and get a little bit of match fitness back after missing a week. I think that could be a big storyline this week of what his health is leading into that match. Does he play? Does he feature? Does he start? What is it? And if he doesn't, I think that's a red flag heading into a Charleston or a Louisville.
yeah, I mean, either way, right? Your star striker going down the second to last match of the year, he just all of a sudden, he scores 2 goals the previous game, then just disappears into the availability report. So, yeah, hopefully we get some more reporting and some more information about that this week. But hopefully it's also just like he's back in New Mexico starting and scores a hat trick in the first half. We could take him off to rest.
Take that for sure. But any other big picture talking points, or I think nothing else from last night for sure. But anything else you want to talk about, kind of leading into the playoffs?
No, I mean, listen, we're hand waving it, not hand waving it, but I don't, it is a fantastic accomplishment that the team has made the playoffs both years. To what we've been talking about, I do think though that, while, with everything on the table of like they're a new club and all this stuff, like, with what they did last year and then what they brought back and what they're, probably spending on this roster compared to the rest of the league. I think this was kind of the floor versus like what an accomplishment. I do think this team underperformed for a large part of this year. I think they would all agree with that. If they don't, I'd be scared.
I think just the table result is an underperformance.
But the beautiful thing about this league and the fact that we don't just do it based off table for the entire season is like anything can happen. We are now getting into the second and the actually more important season. And, we have seen this team be an absolute pain in the ass in the playoffs last year, as well as the Jägermeister Cup this year. So, anything can happen. And that's the both beauty and insanity of this league and the system. So, as JJ has said, I don't know that anyone's going to really want to play us in the playoffs. We have gone to Charleston and beaten Charleston there. We've gone to Louisville and beaten Louisville there. It will not be easy. It is not. Those are 2 very hard places to play and 2 very good teams. So, but the beautiful thing again is anything can happen. The ball can bounce your way any night.
For sure. I know a lot of people were pretty excited, pretty hyped about the "Do You Believe" video. Just want to call to attention the fact the opening line from Kano was calling out armchair pundits like us who talk about this team. So just for what that's worth, I don't know if I believe yet. I don't think I'm there yet. I have to see if JJ features.
You have to get the slide back out. Jeez,
I have to see if JJ features against New Mexico. That's my biggest red flag, kind of going into the playoffs for sure. But mentioning New Mexico, they're in pretty decent form. They have 3 wins in their last 5. They have drawn their last 2, both games 3-3 versus Oakland and Orange County. So it'll be a tough test next Saturday at 9 p.m. as we travel to New Mexico and take them on. An interesting team, a tough team who I think, kind of gives us some physicality, equal, like they can match up to us as well. But they've had a pretty strong season, sitting second in the Western Conference on 45 points, and they score goals. They have 43 goals on the season, and that's just something that we're going to have to keep up with our 28 on the season for sure. But
only a +3 goal differential, so they'll have to ship them too.
I mean, if we don't have JJ, I don't know how much they have to worry about shipping them based on kind of how that
their
looks.
past 2 draws have been 3-3. Like, could you imagine watching a 3-3? That sounds so fun.
That would be fun, like totally entertaining. But do want to thank everyone who joined us tonight. If you haven't already, please smash that like button. That'll wrap things up for this one. Remember, Tide Talk is more than just a podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for daily social media content. Click that link in this episode description to follow all of our accounts. I've been your host, Matt, for my good friend Ryan. Thanks again for joining. We'll see you next time. And as always, up the tide.
Up the tide.